Daniel Ross Anatomy Assignment 3. The internal and external intercostal muscles are main mechanisms of breathing. Where during inspiration, your chest wall and your lungs expand as the diaphragm and contracts to move down. Therefore, your external intercostal muscles contract, widening your chest cavity to allow more oxygen to be breathed in. That by doing this, obviously, you can eliminate more carbon dioxide. And during expiration, breathing out, your diaphragm relaxes and comes back up, and your internal intercostal muscles all contract, tighten it in order to push out more carbon dioxide. Also, this will increase your vital capacity as you're able to bring in larger amounts of oxygen and eliminate large amounts of carbon dioxide. Therefore, this is more effective as we can fuel our muscles faster as a lot more oxygen is present. Layers of the arterial walls. We have 3 layers: the tunica intima, tunica media, and the tunica externa. The tunica intima is the thickest wall out of all 3. It's made of smooth muscle, and helps handle pressure of blood. So during exercise, obviously we have vasodilation, is the expanding of the blood, expanding of the artery walls, and therefore the tunica intima is there to withstand all that pressure from the large volumes of blood that we require in order to work at a high intensity. Then the tunica media is in the central layer. This is also smooth muscle. This acts as like an outer ring, like a support. Again, this supports it by kind of relaxing in order to take on a bit of the pressure. And then the final layer is the tunica externa. This is also smooth muscle, and it's the thinnest layer. And this one aids vasodilation, vasoconstriction, because by contracting, it constricts the arteries, stopping, decreasing the blood flow, and then sometimes it will relax, and therefore dilating the artery walls, therefore increasing the blood flow that can flow through that area. Lumen. Lumen is a thin inner tubular structure. It's inside the artery. It's the smooth muscle on the inside to allow blood flow to go faster. We have lumen because it is soft and smooth, therefore the blood flow is a lot more efficient as it can travel faster to the working muscles. Therefore, it allows a performer to work at a higher intensity for a longer duration of time, so we are able to supply more oxygen, more nutrients through the bloodstream at a faster rate, therefore keeping lots of energy at the muscles. The structure of a vein. We have smooth muscle elastic fibers in the veins, and these stretch to allow vasodilation and vasoconstriction, because after exercise we have all that extra blood at the muscles that we need to get rid of because it's not required anymore. Therefore it goes back to the heart through the veins, and therefore the veins have to vasodilate in order to allow a lot of blood flow through, and also they must constrict, so therefore the elastic fibers work like an elastic band. They can tighten and then they can loosen in order to allow larger amounts of blood back through. We also have an outer coat. This is again similar to the tunica media, as this is the outer layer that also is in control of taking on some of the pressure from the blood flow on the way back through. So this can contract, tightening up the blood flow and tightening up the elastic fibers, or it can relax, obviously releasing the elastic fibers, allowing a lot more blood to flow through, depending on how much blood we have travelling through the vein at one time. And in veins we have valves. Valves are what stop the backflow of blood, because obviously if the blood's travelling upwards through a vein, and it starts to go backwards and we didn't have the valves, it will fall backwards and cause large amounts of blood clots, which can lead to serious injuries. Pulmonary circulation. The pulmonary circulation carries the blood to and from the lungs. In the heart, the blood flows from the right atrium into the right ventricle, and then again backflow of blood is then stopped by the tricuspid valve. This is from travelling backwards from the ventricles into the atria. The right ventricle will then contract to force blood into the lungs through the pulmonary arteries. And in the lungs, this is where gaseous exchange takes place. So oxygen and carbon dioxide oxygen's picked up, and then the carbon dioxide all gets eliminated. and then all the oxygenated blood gets returned to the heart via the pulmonary veins. Therefore, this completes the whole pulmonary circuit. And in pulmonary circulation, the arteries carry oxygen poor blood, and the veins bear an oxygen-rich blood, as the pulmonary veins takes the blood back to the heart for it to be pumped out around the body, whereas obviously the arteries carry the blood at the start, therefore it's not oxygenated, so therefore it's poor oxygenated blood. What is systemic circulation? Systemic circulation is where oxygenated blood leaves the heart through the left ventricle and then deoxygenated blood is returned to the heart. This is the most common form of circulation, as blood is pumped from your left ventricle and it travels around the body, picking up any waste product on its way round. Obviously it travels out through all the arteries and then stops off at muscles, and it's kind of like the postman of it, really. It kind of like picks up all waste products and delivers off plenty of oxygen and nutrients to supply our muscles with, and then travels back all the way through the veins, deoxygenated, with all the waste products ready to eliminate through exhalation. Role of the atria. The role of the atria is to receive oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from the heart and the lungs to deliver it to the rest of the body. So therefore, obviously, the oxygenated blood comes in from the lungs, and therefore this goes around the body to stop off all the muscles, whereas the deoxygenated blood from the heart goes through the atria in order to go to the lungs for diffusion. The role of the heart valves. The role of the heart valves is to allow blood flow through the heart. So we have valves inside of our heart in order, because obviously our heart is a cardiac muscle, so it still requires blood and oxygen. Therefore, the heart valves allow blood flow to go through the heart at low pressure to obviously stop any injuries in the heart and any blood clots in the heart. The role of the ventricle is simply just to pump the blood around the body, as the left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood all around the body, and the right atrium pumps deoxygenated blood into the lungs for diffusion, and then obviously it comes out and goes through the heart around to the left ventricle to be pumped to the rest of the body. The role of the chordae tendineae is to prevent the cusps from swinging back into the upper chamber of the atria, as we have cusps to prevent backflow of blood, and when closing they swing back down, and we need to stop those from hitting into the atria, as this can cause problems in the blood system. The role of the septum. The right side of the heart deals with deoxygenated blood, which is pumped to the lungs to be oxygenated, and then the blood is returned to the left side of the heart to be pumped around the body. Therefore, we require something to divide the two oxygenated and deoxygenated blood to prevent them from mixing together. Therefore, the septum is what separates the heart into a right and left side, as this prevents oxygenated blood mixing in with the deoxygenated blood. Therefore, this could lead to, our muscles wouldn't get the energy requirements that they need if we mix together. The conduction system. This is to ensure that the heart's efficiency to pump blood is as good as cardiac muscle contractions is good, because cardiac muscle contractions, they must be synchronized in order for our heart to be the most efficient it can be. And this is because we need our heart needs to beat at the same time as like our diaphragm moves up to allow blood to pump through. Therefore, all our contractions must be together. For example, when breathing, if our diaphragm is out of sync with our intercostal muscles, that's when we get what's known as the hiccup. Therefore, we want the most blood to be travelling around the body as much as possible. Therefore, we need all contractions to be in sync to allow this to occur. Layers of the heart. We have lots of different layers in the heart. We have the pericardium, the myocardium, and the endocardium. The pericardium is the sac that encloses the heart. It is also known as the outmost layer of the heart. And then the myocardium, this is the thickest layer of the heart, which is made of pure muscle. This is the bit that gets damaged throughout a heart attack. This is the bit of muscle that makes up the bulk of the heart. This is the big strong bit, muscle layer in the centre there, as you can see from the diagram. And then finally the endocardium, this is the thinnest layer of tissue that we have. This lines the hearts and the chambers and the valves. This is obviously smooth muscle in order to allow blood to flow through efficient speed and efficient quantities. And then the cardiac conduction system is located, and this is where the cardiac conduction system is located in the layer of the heart. It goes through the endocardium. The function of blood. Blood is key in carrying nutrients and oxygen around the body and collecting waste products away from the body. The role of blood is to deliver oxygenated blood to all muscles around all or over the body, and also it's a job of blood to pick up the waste products from around the body as well. Blood also carries platelets and white blood cells, which also help us fight infection, which therefore helps us recover. As that when the blood's travelling around, if there's an infectious cell in the blood, platelets will surround it and sort of freeze that cell, which obviously stops it from permitting any more infection. This therefore obviously helps and supports us during our recovery period from after being ill. Removal of waste products. The body removes the waste products through blood flow and inspiration and expiration. The body eliminates the waste products through inspiration and expiration as the body increases its vital capacity. Therefore, we are able to inhale more oxygen and eliminate more carbon dioxide. This is because our chest cavity increases as our external intercostal muscles contract and expand, allowing our diaphragm to contract and move down in order to create more space for oxygen to enter our body. Then our internal intercostal muscles contract and squeeze in, and our diaphragm relaxes and moves up, squeezing more carbon dioxide out of our body. Therefore, we are able to eliminate more carbon dioxide and take in more oxygen. Therefore, this allows us to feed our muscles a lot faster and with a lot more efficient amount of energy, which therefore aids performance for an athlete, as they're able to get more oxygen supplied to their muscles at a faster rate. So therefore, this allows them to work at a higher intensity for a much longer duration of time. Plasma. Plasma is the fluid which are all our blood cells travelling. Plasma is actually made up of about 90% water and is responsible for carrying proteins, minerals and waste products. Plasma also aids infections as it delivers more blood cells in order to clot the infection. So obviously this is what we spoke about with the platelets. It just kind of covers a cell to prevent it from being any more infectious, and therefore we can recover. Also, plasma delivers hormones to the areas of the body that require these hormones, so our muscles now obviously require hormones for energy and things like that. Plasma is basically like a milk plant, really. It makes deliveries all around the body and collects all waste products for processing at the same time. So it picks up all the carbon dioxide around the body and takes it into the lungs ready for ready for gaseous exchange. Therefore, it produces a lot more oxygen. Moving on to gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. This is a process where deoxygenated blood becomes oxygenated. The right side of the heart receives deoxygenated blood back through the pulmonary veins, which is then pumped to the lungs via the right ventricle. Then obviously it goes into the alveoli, and that is where it gets oxygenated. This then is sent back to the heart to be pumped around the body to the left ventricle, and therefore by doing this is how the left ventricle obviously supplies all oxygen through our systemic circulation, which therefore supplies all our muscles with oxygen, nutrients and proteins that are required in order to fuel our muscles ready for the performance or training methods that we are doing. Also, through gaseous exchange, we're able to eliminate a lot of CO2 and waste products in the body. Therefore, we don't have a lot of waste products, so we have much more oxygen in order to work at a higher intensity for a longer duration of time.